listening to Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio.
Can I come in? Tony Ingledow here. I just want to tell you all about Tony's Afternoon Delight on Spectrum on Air. Every Tuesday between 2 and 3 p.m.
You are listening to Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio.
All new shows to listen to on Spectrum on Air. Reggae. Ooh, yeah. Rock and roll jukebox.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue shoe.
And country gold. All new shows on Spectrum on Air. Visit our website on spectrumonair.com or listen on Mixcloud Live.
Don't forget, you can listen to this radio station on the Get Me Radio platform. Download the Get Me Radio app and listen on your Android or Apple mobile phone, and a whole range of TV apps such as Roku, Fire, Android and Apple TV. You can also listen on Alexa and Google Home devices. Just search for Get Me Radio. Download the apps and listen to this radio station on your favourite devices.
Why not come with me, Tony Ingledow, on a journey in my time tunnel? Broadcast every Monday between 2 and 3 p.m. on Spectrum on Air. I'll be taking a trip down memory lane, playing music from the late 60s through to the 80s. Indulge yourself in some nostalgia and let us go back in time together. That's Tony's Time Tunnel every Monday between 2 and 3 p.m. on Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio. I hope that's a date. Don't be late.
Having trouble advertising your act? Need more exposure without breaking the bank? Here at CJC Promotions, we believe that teamwork, bonding and having fun go hand in hand with promoting your work. We believe in artists getting the exposure they deserve without experiencing the stressful side of social media and advertising. With contacts worldwide covering a multidisciplined media environment, we can target your talent so you gain the experience without the consequence of wasted time in unproductive ventures. So, if you are serious about getting your talent out there, just contact Catherine at cjcpromotions.co.uk. That's Catherine at cjcpromotions.co.uk. And remember, our aim is to nurture your talent, not exploit it.
You are listening to Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio.
And welcome to the Road to Shamrocks. Yes, I have such a fantastic guest today. And you may not see her if you are looking at us on Mixcloud or YouTube. You see a little blank space beside me. Well, the reason for that is, like some women, she has not put on her makeup yet or done her hair. So I can totally understand that. I'm right there with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking to the one and the only, the fantastic Miss Dixie. Miss Dixie, say hello to the audience.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Well, you have a very special spot on coming to the Shamrock Music Tribute Festival that is going to be held not too far away on May 10th and 11th. What is going to be your role during the festival?
So I'm so excited to be hosting the Sunday daytime event. So it's a 2-day festival, and I'm hosting the Sunday, and very excited to be working with some amazing superstar artists and tributes.
Well, this is nothing new to you because your entertainment is in your blood, isn't it?
It is, yes. Long time, a very long time, Rose. I've been doing this. Long time.
Well, okay, telling me long time, that's not what I want to hear. Tell us, okay, what your act is, because you are a drag, and I'm not going to say queen, you're a drag artist.
Yep.
So what do you do?
So I'm a drag artist. I've done this job for just over 10 years, up and down the country and abroad. And I absolutely love what I do. I impersonate some of the most incredible divas of all time. In my set, you would find a bit of Cher, Tina Turner, a bit of musical theatre. You'd find, the throwbacks to the 60s and 70s, bit of Frankie Valli, bit of Elvis. And I just absolutely love what I do. I think as an alter ego, as Dixie, I can be as sassy but classy as much as I'd like. It's a great job. Love it.
Well, you've been doing this only for about 10 years, but you have been in the entertainment field for a little bit longer than that. So what have you been doing?
So I was really fortunate when I was younger. I studied at the Pauline Quirk Academy of Performing Arts. The wonderful Pauline Quirk, who is one of the creative brains behind Birds of a Feather. I studied with the Academy for 4 years and then went on to study at the Sylvia Young Theatre School in London on a weekend workshop basis, which was so exciting, and just worked with just some amazing creative professionals that would, point me in the right direction and give tips and tricks. And some of the things they give you, you would think, oh my gosh, that is such a silly way of thinking about it. But actually, in reflection, looking now as a performer, it really makes sense. So I was fortunate to be at the theatre schools from a young age, and then found a love for pantomime. Absolutely loved pantomime from a young age, and was really fortunate to do, I think my last count, excluding the last couple of years, was about 17 or 18 pantomimes. And that was a range of amateur dramatics up to sort of professional pantomimes at the Mayflower, local theatres in Bournemouth and Poole and Christchurch, where I'm based. And I just loved it because I worked up from being, a member of the chorus, the junior ensemble, up to principal role of Baddie, the pantomime dame. And 1 year I played the comic, which I loved, but I didn't have a wig and a dress, so it didn't feel pantomime enough for me. So I was fortunate to do pantomimes, but alongside that, I worked with various different production companies and did some amazing musical theatre work, and also some sort of serious Shakespeare plays as well, which was a complete change to the performance elements I was always used to. So I was used to the pantomimes, being booed coming on the stage, and then suddenly doing, Romeo and Juliet was a completely different sort of kettle of fish in regards to I wasn't getting a boo. There was very minimal audience participation. So that kind of gave me some amazing techniques to take away with me. And it was only sort of about 4 or 5 years ago, about 5 years into my drag career, that I kind of bumped into some, previous members of the creative team at both Sylvia Young and Pauline Quirk Academy. And it was really funny because I was in an amazing sort of press launch of an event for drag where I was invited to. Mm-hmm. They came over and they're like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. And to start with, they didn't realize who I was. And it was very interesting having a conversation with members of those sort of professionals, that they knew my voice and they knew when I was talking to them what I'd done, and I could see them racking their brains thinking, who is this? And it was just amazing. And I think every single production I'd done, whether it was amateur dramatics or sort of professional or even, semi-professional, I'd managed to gain a lot of experience and knowledge to take forward. And I think that's what I'm so grateful for is, without sounding too cliche, I'm very lucky I had the opportunity to work from the bottom right up to where I am now, being, a drag artist that tours the UK weekly and goes abroad, does work in, Europe and things like that. I'm so fortunate to have that. And I think looking back now as a male performer, I would really struggle getting on that stage and performing. I'm very lucky having sort of having a wig and makeup and an outfit and big high stiletto shoes as not as a blanket, but as a bit of a barrier.
Uh-huh.
And a different artist and a different act. And, I'm just so fortunate to have been able to gain that experience from the previous years, really.
Well, you have said so much, and I'm going to go back and refer to some of it because it was just striking about one thing about pantomimes is the pantos are so strictly British.
They are so
Before I came
British.
over here, never knew they existed. And when my husband took me to my first one, I've been hooked ever since. Sometimes I have to kidnap children of my friends to go to a panto so I don't stand out too much because I just enjoy it so much. And two, you being able to get so immersed in your character that people that have known you during previous times that you've created a character didn't even recognize you. That's an awesome talent.
Yes, and do you know what? I'm so lucky that, across the last 10 years, I mean, let's be completely honest, Rose. 10 years ago, I looked dreadful as an artist and I thought I looked the bee's knees. And looking back on the photographs and videos and things, I look back now thinking, oh gosh, Dixie, you looked absolutely atrocious, but you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And what I love is I finish my gig. And there are some gigs where I have to take, a sound system and a PA or whatever, or microphones and backdrops or whatever. And I'll take the makeup off, which is always a really sad time for me because it takes 2 hours to paint the face and it's off in 30 seconds. And I take the makeup off and I go and pack up. I have some amazing people, which I'll talk about later on. I've got some amazing people in my team that have always helped and supported. And people will come up to me and they'll go, "Where's Dixie? Is Dixie okay? I wanted a photo with Dixie." And only recently I'd got a tattoo in memory of a family member that sadly passed away last year on the side of my hand. And since having that tattoo, people now know that's me because they will look at the tattoo and think, "Oh, that is Dixie." But it still takes them a good sort of 15 minutes to work out. And it is lovely because I can finish my gig. I can, thank the audience, thank everybody that's come, have some photographs and things, take the makeup off, take the wig off, get the dress sort of in a bag ready to be steamed and washed, and walk back in and feel that I'm not going to be, look, I don't want to sound like a diva here, but I don't, mobbed or grabbed or, oh my gosh, you're the drag queen. Oh my gosh, can we have a conversation? I can feel a little bit more private when I walk in and they know that I'm kind of not straight away, I'm that artist. So I'm very lucky.
Well, you don't have to be, shall we say, on all the time because you can turn it off and become your real self without having, you don't need the constant adoration.
Correct.
That comes when you have it. So your job is your job, which you love. Don't get me wrong. It's something. But every once in a while, we do need to have that little time that we're just me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I think, as a drag artist, I've always been told by, fellow members of the community, fellow drag artists, that I in particular always feel like an agony aunt. I feel that the moment I walk into a venue, somebody will come to me and they'll give me a life scenario of my husband's doesn't love me anymore. What do I do? Or, oh my gosh, I wish I could be like you. Or, oh my gosh, how do you get your lashes there on point? Or, oh my gosh, how do you walk in them heels? I always feel that as an artist, I'm not on high alert, but I'm always responsive. So I'm always answering questions and I'm always telling people it's going to be okay, or, grab yourself another drink, or, come inside, let's have a giggle. So at the moment I take that sort of face and barrier down, I feel naked, Rose, if I'm honest. I feel completely naked, because I walk back in and then suddenly people are saying to me, "Oh, that's a great show," or, "Oh, did you watch the show?" And I'm thinking, I was the show. But at that present point, sometimes after a 3-hour show, Rose, I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm sweating from every part of my body. I absolutely smell of body odor. I've got, absolutely sort of backache from the parts of bodies that I have to wear. My feet have got bunions, and I'm just ready to get home and jump in a shower. So yes, it's always a funny one, but yeah, like you said, I absolutely love what I do.
Well, the interesting thing she said, when you look back now, you feel like you've really progressed. But isn't that everyone? I don't know of anyone, if anybody in the audience is listening to me, that you've done something perfectly the first time you've done it. It just doesn't happen. So it's, you've learned. And one of the things, because you've got that stage presence, that you are the sassy, classy person up on that stage, that when you walk off the stage, that persona is still on the stage. People do think of you as having all the answers.
Yes, and I think it's really difficult. The main thing I've learned, Rose, over the years is where the cutoff point is. So where the line is. And I'm a strong believer that as an artist, you have got to know your audience and you've got to read your audience. And I always remember having a chat with an amazing drag artists that have gone on to, RuPaul's Drag Race and TV commercials and things like that, that they said that you have 30 seconds. The moment you walk onto stage, you have 30 seconds to connect with that audience. And I think the thing with drag is it is completely different to any other performer. So if you're a band or you're a tribute artist, you are so talented that you've got their moves and you've got their accent and you've got the hair and you've got, the mannerisms to a T. But as a drag artist, not everybody could connect straight away, and they may feel, oh my gosh, who is this person on the stage? Or, oh my gosh, they're going to pick on me. And you've got that 30 seconds to engage with the audience. Now, sometimes I'm not going to sit here and say that my job is perfect in every audience I win over in 30 seconds, because I would be a liar. However, there are a few times where it's taken a minute or it's taken a whole set to understand the audience, for them to understand you, for them to understand that actually you are an artist. For me, it's a job. It isn't a lifestyle. And I find it hard sometimes when people don't engage straight away, because I stand there and, I'm dull to the nines. I'm wearing a real sparkly number. My feet are already hurting. I've got a headache from the wigs. So for me, I just think, come on, engage with me. But I think sometimes it does take that time to engage with them.
Well, there's a couple of things. One is, one of the things that when you go on stage, what really makes an audience, one of the things that makes an audience receptive to you is a sense of humor. If you can get them to laugh within their first 30 seconds, the majority of a laugh, you've got them like literally in the palm of your hand for the rest of your set.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's really one good thing about that. And you have that technique to be able to put a smile on people's faces. And what's going on in today's world, we're not going to get into politics. We talked about that before the show. But in this world, it's nice to have a smile.
And I think that's what I've learned. I think I always refer to any audience that I laugh with you, I don't laugh at you. And I'm the first one to rip it out of myself. I'm the first one that I may, which I know that we said we'll talk about later, some of those moments where you've had to think on your feet, or things that, haven't always gone to plan. And I'm one that would walk into a room and I might drop my microphone, or I might trip over my own foot, or, I might turn up the volume too loud and it comes blaring out with a diva song. So for me, the biggest thing for me, I've always been told, is my facial expressions, which obviously I'm not on camera today because you wouldn't get the full experience. But if you do come along or you see me at one of my other shows or whatever, you'll see that the facial expressions I pull gets a lot of the people laughing sort of straight away.
Well, interesting that you just mentioned songs, because one of the songs that I'm playing today, to give us a little bit of chance to breathe and have a cup of tea, a sip of tea, is a song that you use in your show called I'm a Believer.
It is indeed.
Do you like it? What do you like about this song?
Do you know what? I love the song. I mean, it was obviously a song as a child I would listen to at grandparents' houses. It would always be on, the record. It would be on, the Monkees version would always be played.
Oh.
And then suddenly I found a love for the film Shrek. And I love the musical Shrek. And when that was in the film, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, double winner here. This is amazing. And then I added it in. Somebody had requested a song, a few years ago and was like, oh, Dixie, would you do the song for us at your next gig? And I thought, yeah, of course. And I learned it. But I just love the music. The song will start playing, as they'll hear shortly, and then people, they look around, they go, oh, I love that song. And the thought of singing a song that people love and they know the words to and they're engaged in makes all the difference.
Well, in that case, we're definitely going to be playing this. So I'm going to turn off my screen. Dixie and I are going to talk while this song is on and you're enjoying it. And, of course, it's the Monkees version. Yes, I am a big Monkee fan. That tells you how old I am. I'm a Believer.
Only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace. Get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. Oh, then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Yes, I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace.
Hey, my name's Bailey, and you can come see me on the Silent Monkey radio show on Spectrum on Air, Fridays 11 p.m. until midnight, where we play all sorts of alternative music, be it rock, emo, metal, we love it all. That's the Silent Monkey radio show, Fridays 11 p.m. until midnight on Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio.
you've heard about some of the other shows that they have on Spectrum on Air. So tune in. You can listen to such a wide genre of all types of music. Now, we're also on the air here talking to Miss Dixie, who are just enjoying the conversation, is because of Sham Rock musical tribute acts. There are all kinds of different tribute acts, and if you've been listening to us for the last 6 weeks, we've been talking to some of the acts here. There's so many more that's going to be coming. Miss Dixie is going to be the MC, or whatever terminology you use for it, MC, American version of it, but to just kind of like make things go smoothly. Or do they? So tell me, Dixie, has there ever been a time that it has not gone as smoothly as you would have liked it?
There have been a few times, and during the break when that wonderful song "I'm a Believer" was playing, I was kind of making notes of a few scenarios, and there's a few that I can't mention on air, but the ones I can mention on air was one of them where I was hosting a pride that took place in Wiltshire, and there was probably 2,500, 3,000 people there, and as I was dancing, I was finishing my show so that the event would finish, and I was closing with a bit of Proud Mary by the queen of music. She was just a queen of music, Proud Mary. And as I was dancing, the show had finished, and I was walking down the stairs. People were cheering, people were taking photos. As I miss a step and start tumbling. Now, what we've got to imagine is a big stage with one side was a ramp, which was bringing setup and the band's instruments and all the lighting rigs. And the other side was probably about 15 or 20 steps. And I've always been told that I'm quite a fast walker, Rose. So I don't hang around. I'm a bit of a strider. So when I'm coming off the stage, immediately I forget that I've got a 5-foot wig on my head. I've got 8-inch stilettos on my feet. I've got a big trailing blue gorgeous sequin that I call it like a fish tail dress that was touching the bottom of my heel. And I'm coming off stage and I can see a drink with my name on it in the dressing area, and an immediate rush of absolute excitement rushed through my body, and I missed probably 2 or 3 steps and rolled down the stairs. The hair came off, even though it was glued. The hair came off. I broke a heel. Didn't snap a nail. I broke a heel. And the thing that saved me was my boobies. That's the only thing that saved me. My Shein wonders, my Shein purchase of boobies saved me. As I get up in absolute embarrassment, and I've probably gone the colour of a tomato, I look to my left and I can just see crowds of people with their phones out, looking and laughing and checking I'm okay. And immediately I thought, someone is going to make money on you being framed from this fall. Someone is going to make money on this. But actually they didn't. And it was the embarrassing moment of, Rose, do I take my shoes off? Do I put the hair back on, or do I just slay it? And do I just completely style it out? And I thought I'd just style it out. I mean, I've never drunk probably half a bottle of Prosecco so quickly. However, we have these mistakes because things are live. Yeah. Things are live. And if this was pre-recorded, that would have been taken out, but probably put in the outtakes. It still would have been in there somehow. That was one
people
case.
Think that was part of your act?
Well, that's what I kind of thought, because as I got up, I just started reminiscing the amazing chorus that Tina Turner sings of rolling, rolling, rolling on a river. And I just thought I'd change it to rolling, rolling, rolling down the staircase. And people just seemed to absolutely follow this and was like, oh, Dixie, what an amazing part of your act. And I was like, yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Thinking, I'm absolutely howling. The stage manager is howling, but equally worried, thinking, where there's a blame, there's a claim. And I'm just thinking, honestly, I said to the stage manager, honestly, there is nothing that you could have done more than put probably signs just for me saying, do not stride and watch the steps. But my heel just got caught and I just tumbled. But style it out. We all have these moments.
I'm sorry, I had to laugh because I could just imagine you. Like you're coming down. You don't even have a chance to say ouch. You've already got to make it sound like this is something that we had it planned all along.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And do you know what, Rose? I don't have a high pain threshold. And you can obviously imagine by me having two tattoos was probably the most painful experience of my whole entire life. Anyhow, we move. And I'm one that I wanted to cry. I wanted to sit there, Rose, and just burst into tears because my knees, my ankle, my neck, my arm, like there was no visible bruises. I didn't even get a single bruise, Rose, from this. Right. Let's just remember I was being a complete, nightmare. I didn't get a single bruise. But at the time, I think, it's one of those that you either laugh or you cry. And I had to laugh because if I didn't laugh, I would just sit there and cry like a little baby. It was such a embarrassing moment that no one will ever let me forget that now. No one will ever let me forget it.
Well, outside of those oopses that you make sound part of your act, if somebody wants to hire you for an event, how do they get a hold of you, Dixie?
So they can view my website and they can look at my social media. Now, Rose, as you have been in contact with me, you will understand that I have a bit of a naughty innuendo name. Am I okay to say that online?
Yes, you can.
So my website is www.dixienormousdragartist.co.uk, and I'm the same on Instagram and Facebook. And I have a YouTube channel. It doesn't have a lot of people on there, so please don't feel free to look at anything. It's anything that's on my website. But I have recently, Rose, joined the wonderful community on TikTok. So I'm trying to do some little TikTok bits and pieces. So, website is the best place. People can see where I am. They can buy tickets for shows. They can see reviews and packages and things, or social media where they can see that I've been to an event and here's some little cheeky selfies or little sort of reels about what I get up to, keeping out of trouble.
Keeping out of trouble. That sounds like a challenge to me.
Behave yourself.
Your act it does go on. Now, because I'm thinking of two thoughts at the same time. This is what happens when you become an interviewer. One is the Shamrock Festival is for people of all ages. Like I say, the young and the young at heart. But you do have a risque type of act, shall we say.
Yeah, so, I do have a risque type of act.
You enjoy it?
I do. And the thing with my act is I tailor my act for the audience. So we have innuendos. There are certain words I would never say. And there are certain words that I say a lot. And I will always tailor my act depending on the audience. So, for example, at a corporate event or an interview, I'm known as Miss Dixie. But on a sort of 18 plus event, I'm known as my other name. So depending on the audience. But yeah, I love it because I think it is always funny, Rose, because when I do my act, I would either do sort of from the 70s right through to the 2000s, including a bit of S Club, Steps, Tina Turner. And then sometimes when I've got a younger audience, they'll mention artists that they'd like me to do that I've never even heard of.
So and it's what always type of artist do you like to not, because imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
So do you do any specific, you mentioned Tina Turner. Who else do you enjoy kind of like personifying?
Yeah, so obviously, just to clarify, I love their performance and I love their style and I love their music. I'm not a tribute artist as such where I wear the same outfits and the wigs and I don't sound like them and I don't look like them, but I try and share my love for their music during my show. So I love Tina Turner. Love a bit of Steps. You can't go wrong with Steps in S Club 7, which I think are now S Club 2. Move. And, you know, I love Frankie Valli. I love a bit of Whitney Houston. I love a bit of Rocky Horror Picture Show, bit of musical theatre, Joseph, Chicago. Celine Dion is a big favorite in my show. So I kind of do a range, but every sort of 6 months to 7 months, I will always add different songs into my show. So, you know, during Christmas, my show is filled with just Mariah Carey and Wizard. But during the summer months, you know, we'll have more of the party songs. But equally, it's always very difficult because if I do my own show, you know, I've got probably 7 or 8 sort of different sets I could do. When I work with sort of a tribute festival or what have you, I'm always very sort of understanding that there might be a specific tribute artist at the event, so I wouldn't sing their songs.
So specific themes that sometimes you're aware of.
Yeah, so you know, I've done a few tribute festivals where there've been a Tina Turner and a Celine Dion tribute, and I've gone, oh, for goodness sake, they're my 2 favorite songs. But I'll let them have their moment, and they will come out looking like Tina and looking like Celine. So I wouldn't do their songs in my set, but it's all about sort of working the crowd. And I think, you know, there are definitely floor fillers. You know, I've added a bit of madness into my show, which people will always find hysterical that, you know, a drag artist is doing madness, but it works. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond, it always works. But I'm not going to give away my full set list in case somebody here's watching that's going to copy me.
Well, I'm just listening to, you're going to be the MC on Sunday for the Shamrock Festival.
Correct.
Are you going to get a chance to do one of your sets?
I believe so. I think that the main thing as an MC, as I'm sure you know, as an interviewer as well, is that you're there to kind of brush over any incidents, i.e., if an artist is running late due to traffic or, you know, a circumstance out of their control, but equally to fill a bit of time. So as bands set up, as bands sort of break their set down, you know, whilst trombones are coming on the stage and, you know, a 6-piece drum, you know, I've got to be there to kind of fill a gap, but equally keep the audience engaged, because what you don't want is for everybody to rush to the front for a specific tribute, and within the 15-minute slot of the next artist coming on, people are then leaving or they're moving around. You need to keep that audience engaged. So I probably will chuck a couple of numbers in. I mean, I've looked at the lineup and there isn't any that do my set this time, so I'm very excited. You're going to get the full experience. But, you know, hopefully there'll be a time to get people up and dancing and, you know, a bit of ABBA. Love a bit of ABBA, don't we? Got to love a bit of ABBA.
Oh, definitely. Now, saying that, as you just referred slightly, is I do MC work regionally over here. It's not my main thing. But every once in a while, I'll get hecklers. And I actually teach public speaking of how to deal with hecklers. Do you get any hecklers while you're doing your act? Have you got any hecklers, I should say?
Do you know what it is? I put it down into 2 sections. The first section is sometimes people heckle because they think they're funnier than they are. But equally, on that note, they also want to be involved. And sort of, I would say, rumour has it 99% of the time, Rose, is when they're sort of influenced by alcohol. So if it is an event where no alcohol served, which is very unlikely, but I have done a few, I don't get hecklers. The other side I put it down to is education. So they aren't aware what I am, who I am, and what I'm doing. And it's very interesting that we talked about panto earlier, because my whole element is that I'm a pantomime dame with better makeup and camper dresses. So what I do is I'm a singing pantomime dame, basically. Now, there are a range of drag artists across the world that do a variety of acts, but I'm very much open to the fact that people refer me to a live singing drag artist, but with patter. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier on the show, was that there's a line, and I don't cross that line. I don't invade someone's privacy or someone's personal space. And it's about laughing with them, not at them. Now, if we're going backwards and forwards, the audience normally find it quite amusing. But as we know, hecklers can also turn within a second. By the time you click your fingers, they've turned. So I've always got to keep my wits about me and decide, is it worth that heckle backwards and forwards, or is it worth just dropping it and moving on? So normally it's moving on, it's playing a song and getting them involved. And it's kind of a bit like trolling, isn't it, really? Everybody gets trolled now and then. And they always say, if you reply to a troll, they'll keep coming. If you leave a troll, they'll get bored and they'll move on. So that's kind of how I describe mine. But I'm very lucky in the respect that I think where my career is taking me, the sort of events I do and the people I do that attend the event are in sort of large numbers. So the hecklers are outwitted by the people enjoying the show. Whereas if I did a venue for 15 people, you probably, if you had 3 hecklers, that's a high percentage of those actually attending. So I'm quite lucky that with the audience I have, they kind of normally get the death stare by a member of the audience, like, zip it, you. But yeah, I'm very lucky. I've not really experienced that a lot.
Well, when they see what you are and they come to your act, they kind of know what to expect. So anybody coming to do anything else there, you just take it as it is. You can't lump all hecklers into one category, because you're right. There's a lot of influences to it. But you also refer to some of the people, the personas that you enjoy, paying tribute to, I should say. And one of the ones that you definitely enjoy was Cher.
I do love Cher. I'd marry her tomorrow. If she lived in the UK, we would be together. There's something about Cher.
The way that Cher's going, she may live forever. You might have a shot at it.
I mean, I've always said to myself, if I'm single by the age of 30, then I would write Cher an email personally or message her on Instagram, and I would get her to come to the UK, to my apartment, and we'd have dinner and listen to all her favourite hits.
Well, we're going to play one of her hits. And I think it's a song that you actually enjoy, just to give us a little bit of a break. But it's one of my favorite songs. And who can ever forget her backdrop of where she sang this song, which is on a ship. Yeah. And it's If You Can Turn Back Time. You like that song?
If I could, I would.
So we're going to be listening to Cher.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay. I don't know why I did the things I did. I don't know why I said the things I said. Pride's like a knife, it can cut deep inside. Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. I didn't really mean to hurt you. I didn't want to see you go. I know I made you cry, but baby, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words turn back time, if I could turn back time, if I could turn back time, oh, baby. I didn't really mean to hurt you. I didn't wanna see you go. I know I made you cry. Oh, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words I heard you. If I could reach the stars, I'd give them all to you. Then you love me like you used to do. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way,
Well, we've just been talking about some of our favorite artists. Cher is one of them. Now, I'm also going to be asking you, Dixie, and I have told you repeatedly, we are being recorded. You can see this show on YouTube. You can show it on Mixcloud. So the next words I have are going to be for that you're not going to get out of.
Oh, gosh.
Dixie, can you come back on the show again? I've so enjoyed having you on here.
Absolutely. Can we say what we were talking about in the break about meeting up and having some food
We
and
are.
get the world to rights?
Without a doubt. I've had such fun. Okay. Dixie, I'm not going to be able to get a chance to see her on Sunday. I'm going to be coming down to the festival. I'll be there Saturday, but I have other commitments on Sunday, which is when you're going to be on the stage. I am crushed.
I think it's really rude and disrespectful, to be honest, Rose. I'm not going to lie.
So I'm trying to talk her into coming up here and doing her show here in Milton Keynes. So if anybody's interested in, let's see what we can do to get her up here, I would be loving it. And then also, too, between you and I, we're going to set the world right. What do you think?
We are indeed. We are indeed. And this time I won't fall over. And we can just sit there and just chat and giggle and just be normal.
The famous quote that King Charles says, whatever normal is.
Well, yes, I'll take that with a pinch of salt, Rose.
Because there's so many different versions. To me, normal seems kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I like being a little bit off kilter, off center.
What do they call it? Quirky.
Quirky. Oh yes, I like that word. We're going to be a little quirky.
Bit quirky.
What other events do you have upcoming besides going to being part of Sham Rocks?
Well,
anything else?
Yes, I've got quite a few exciting events. I do quite a few prides, and I've got some amazing work in care homes this year across Pride Month. So I team up with some local care homes and we provide an hour's worth of fun entertainment, and they kind of invite their families. They have a Pride tea party, and that's always really fun. But I also have some amazing events. I've got a wonderful ladies' night in Dorset this year in July, which I've been there. This is my third year. Last year, the rain was horrific, and I got drenched. I was like a drowned rat within 20 minutes. I'm hoping this year, I'm praying to every single person out there that can help with the weather, that the weather will be sunny. And I've got some of my own events, which I do. I do a thing called Dixie's Bathtub Bingo, which is a real crazy, fun, bonkers event where, we give away space hoppers and we give away air fryers and fishing nets and toilet roll. It's a fun event, but we do give away a cash jackpot of £500. So that's happening in May, which is really exciting.
Where's that happening at? Is it in London? Is it where?
So it's in
Wherever.
Wiltshire. So I do so although I go around the UK, I do quite a lot in Wiltshire area because it's I started doing some sort of bingo nights and cabaret nights, and sort of one venue led to a second and a second led to a third. And I did my first one in December last year and it sold out. And then we did one, we advertised it this year, and within 17 days, the event sold out. So I'm so excited to do that. And it works really well because that is the day before Shamrocks. Well, the day of Shamrocks. So I'm there on the Sunday and my event's on the Saturday. So I said to the wonderful Ema that I'll shout out about it and get people, if they've not had enough of me, to come down on the Sunday, Rose, and see the same show again. I'm joking.
It would be wonderful because even though you may do identical shows, I can guarantee they won't be identical because you do have your little input of changing things around, don't you?
Absolutely. And to be honest, my bingo shows are absolute bonkers. And I had quite a few venues contact me this year, and they had said that, what do you do in the show? And I said, I'll send you a base outline, but I can't promise what's going to happen because it is just bonkers. So they dance to rhyming numbers. We give away spot prizes. We do lip sync battles. We do dance battles. We do a worm contest. Who can do the best worm? We do, backflips. Who can do a backflip? So it's always, like you said, it's always different.
Excuse me, Dixie. I'm 70 years old. There's no backflips this girl's gonna do.
Well, I can tell you this now, Rose. I saw how flexible you were in the break, and I can tell you this now. You would take any gymnast out. You would be iconic.
Oh, I adore you. You're now my new best friend.
Oh, we should get matching tattoos, Rose. Let's have besties on our little fingers,
So, okay, once again, we're going to say, how can people get a hold of you?
So people can get hold of me on my website, which is www.dixienormousdragartist.co.uk, and that's DIXIENORMOUS, dragartist.co.uk. You can have a little look on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok. But you wouldn't get through to me straight away, Rose, and I'll tell you for why. I've got a wonderful manager, Tara, who I know is listening today. So I want to do a little shout out to her. I know you were dealing with Tara previously. And she has many roles, Rose, but she is the Dixie behind Dixie Normus, I tell you. She is great. She's iconic.
I have, and you're right, Dixie, you are hard to get a hold of, and I did have to go through Tara and a couple of different people before I got you, and I'm so glad I pursued it, because this has been a wonderful interview, and I'm so glad to meet up with you finally.
Rose, you're making me sound like I don't reply. I'm a very busy girl.
You are a very busy girl.
Before we came on, I will tell you this, Rose, now.
Go ahead.
I've got 75 unread messages on my personal mobile, and I've got 23 voicemails and 15 WhatsApps. So this is why Tara is there, because Tara is on it like a carb on it, and she keeps me in place and she keeps me in shape. Well, she doesn't keep me in shape because she just feeds me chocolate to keep me quiet, but we move.
No, I am not disqualified and stuff like this, because doing the Road to Shamrocks was kind of like a last-minute concept that we kind of put together. So I was pushing the envelope to get acts like yourself that are going to be at the festival on air. So that's how come it's like, the timing that you got to come on air was perfectly fine. But it's like, for a while, I was kind of nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get a hold of you, and I did. And I got a hold of Tara, and she set everything up for us, and it's been perfect ever since then. So thank you, Tara. I do appreciate your help.
Tara actually messaged me 20 minutes before going on air, and she's like, Dixie, are you awake? Are you going on the interview? I was like, Tara, the computer's out, the energy drink's open, the pen is poised, and the paper is ready. So she was even surprised herself, to be honest, Rose.
Well, I'm glad it was worth the effort.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on, and thank you to, on behalf of everybody involved, thank you for supporting Shamrocks. and given your time and your energy and everything like that. I know Ema is, as I watched the interview, she is so appreciative. It's just lovely to connect with people like yourself.
It has been. It is just knowing what Shamrock is, because I've enjoyed learning what goes behind the scenes and what goes on stage. And it's an environment that I've never been to. So it's nice to have people like you tell me about it, because it's making me really excited to go down there and visit everyone, which is going to be, once again, if you haven't heard it already, it's going to be on May 10th and 11th, which is only in a few weeks.
Yes, but I'm still gutted you're not going to see me on the Sunday, Rose. I feel completely heartbroken.
Oh, come on. I'm sure that heart's been cracked a few times. Probably not totally broken, but we'll catch up. I'm going to see if we can get you up here at Milton Keynes. I'm going to keep checking your website to see where I can actually come and see and talk to you, and then I'll just let you know.
And just go through Tara. We'll get you VIP treatment, Rose. We'll get a limo sent to you. You can come in. We'll make sure that we've got, a prime spot at the front. We'll give you some nibbles and some drinks on the table. We'll treat you like a superstar.
Wow. Oh, you're turning me into being your number one fan, and I haven't even seen your act yet.
You might not like it, Rose. You might see me and go, oh, she's boring.
Excuse me. We've been talking for the last, 55 minutes? Do you think I'm not going to like it?
Well, hopefully you do.
I will.
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, yes, I will. Oh, Dixie, I do have to say that we have to say goodbye to you. It has been a wonderful, wonderful chat. You are going to come back on my regular show, because this show, The Road to Shamrock, ends in another 2 weeks, because we're going to be having the festival. But my regular radio show, which is Extra Time with Rosemarie, you are definitely coming back on it again, because I want to catch up on what you're doing, how you're doing, and it's been a pure joy talking to you.
And I've got some really exciting projects coming up, so I would love to come back on in and talk to you about the projects, because they are just stunning.
Drop me a line. Let me know what's going on, and I'll see if I can get you in on it, which, time appropriate. I'll definitely get you in, but I like to get you in before the project happens so you can talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely, Rose.
Well, we're going to finish up this show with one of my favorite songs, and I think it's just totally appropriate. Maybe a little bit on the campy side, but that's what this whole show's been so much exploring and just enjoying. And it's Rainy Men by the Weather Girls.
I wish it was.
Once again, I got to tell you one thing. Dixie, doing this, I said a little bit earlier that I have friends that are transgender and different things. I just been invited to their wedding. It's a steampunk wedding. So here's another new thing that I'm going to be going to, which is 10 days after the Shamrock Festival.
Well, have a drink for me. Have a drink.
I will. And Dixie, thank you once again. But we're going to turn off the rest of the show till we're going to be listening to It's Rainy Men by the Weather Girls.